this video I'm going to show you how I would go about using some of the tools that I've just shown you. I've got my palette here. Check out the video with how I make this palette. It's basically parchment paper with damp kitchen roll on top of a catering tray. It's great, it avoids waste, keeps your paint moist and is very cost effective. Now, I always use a water bucket for my brushes. It's just a recycled salt container, and I like to use big containers with plenty of water so that you don't end up with muddy water. So these are some, there's a flat topped one which, as I said in my other video, is called a bright. There's a filbert and there's a round. I think it's called a round. Now I'm just using black and white here to demonstrate this. And first of all, before you start painting, always damp your brush. Have a piece of kitchen towel and just take off the excess moisture. That makes the paint much easier to use. Now I'm using white with a touch of black. You don't need a great deal of black to make a difference, so that will grey it down. So that's just going to make that a bit moister there. So this is the pointed brush. Now I hold my brushes at the very end. I don't hold it in this part here, which is called the ferrule. Hold it at the very end. You have less control, but you also can get a lovely, loose, expressive feel to it. And so pretty much I would just play around like that with the brush. So you can see where it's been heavier and lighter, and you get that lovely point with this brush. Then if you have something like this, of course you get different marks. This will give you straight lines. That's quite dry, so that's an interesting mark in itself. That's heavy and it's drying out like that. So with this one, use it at the very end like this and make interesting marks like that. You can also drag it across like that. And all of these different marks will make your painting more interesting. The filbert is just a rounded version of this one. So you can sort of do quite bold marks like that. Now these are all roughly the same size. If I introduced a bigger brush like this, I can take some more paint, mix up a little bit more paint. As you can see, I'm just using lots of different brushes, and there's a huge advantage to this. Apart from the fact that you get different marks, it also keeps your paint much cleaner. So again, with this one we can just make marks just like that. I'm going to make that darker. As you can see, I'm not kind of worried about not filling in all the gaps, because I don't really want to. It makes it much more interesting when you have different feels, if you like, throughout the painting. Now I'm going to pick out that cake decorating tool with the what do you call them, teeth or something, and I'm just going to run that through. And already you can see we've got something different going on there, and I'm running it right across this piece of paper. Now I've got some dots of paint here, so I'm going to use those up here, and I might use some up here. So we're not really wasting anything, and all of a sudden it's starting to get much more interesting. Let's look at just a straightforward spatula now, palette knife. So with this I would mix up paint like this. Quite thick paint. I think with palette knives you always end up with very textural surfaces, so I don't want that to be the same colour. So I've just literally taken some white and I've drawn it across here, and I'm going to take some more actually because I quite like that, and it's just going to go right down there. So I've gone over everything that I've done before, and I'm going to take this think what it's called. What's it called? Anyway, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to run this across here and see what happens. And look at that. All of a sudden you're seeing paint from underneath this white coming through. And it just makes it really interesting. It's quite abstract, granted. I've got my fingers stuck to it. But I think it's just so much fun doing this because you learn so much and you get these wonderful marks that you cannot make with brushes. So you can use this in lots of different ways, dragging it across, drawing through it. Wipe it down when you've finished with a rag or some paper. And another thing that you can do is you can go back to your which I've lost, yes, this thing, and you could try drawing through that again to get these wonderful different marks going on in it. I'll draw through it several times, and already you can see, and we're not even trying to make this interesting, it's becoming much more interesting. Okay, what haven't we used? We haven't used my stick. I can't find it, but let's use this instead. This is actually it's called a rigger brush, and it's sable, so it's a watercolour brush really. But I've used it in my painting quite a lot because it makes the most beautiful thin lines that I really like running through my work. So I hold it right at the end. Run it through some paint. It's got to be reasonably wet, and you just can it's a bit like watching a bird flying through the air. I mean, that's kind of how I liken it when I'm painting. If I'm painting a landscape, instead of drawing a bird, I'll take some white paint. In this case I've done black, but let's take white as well, and just draw these wonderful swirly marks. And it just looks lovely, I think. And with practice, you'll discover tools that you really like. They might not be these ones, they might be different ones, but you'll learn different ways of using them. Now, my last tip that I absolutely... Oh, no, there's two more. There's this thing, this lovely kitchen spatula that I use a lot. It just makes the most wonderful marks. So I'm just going to show you. You can do sort of lovely loose marks like that. You can make straight marks. It's just a really lovely thing to use. And then finally, my secret weapon. I haven't got my sticks, I don't know where it's gone, but I have got some grass. And with the grass, this one's very dry. You can use it dry or fresh. I get some paint on. I might have to paint this on actually. You can put different colours on even. And then use this like that and you get these lovely, very loose marks. And you can drag it through other colours if it's wet. I mean, look at that. That was lovely, and I just painted on it, hit it again. So those are some ideas for you. It's a great exercise to do, to just use black and white and gather together a couple of brushes. You don't need that many brushes, and lots of other things, anything you can find, even bubble wrap. I've got some here. I'm actually staring at it. It has got some charcoal in it, but I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to paint on this bit here. I haven't got much paint left, but let's use it up. Is it that side? Yeah, I think so. Is it that side? This is a bit old, this bubble wrap. And I'm just going to lay it down here, press down, see what happens. Again, some really fun marks, which you can do with a brush. So when you have the combination of conventional tools like brushes and palette knives, and then you add in other things, you do get some extraordinary marks. And you can start to develop and use these in your work. You may not want to use all of them, it may just be a bit too much, but just putting together these marks, you just get a feel for how all of this works. And you can also just add paint directly to the surface and either take one of these or a brayer, and you can just drag it across the surface. And again, let's see what happens when we have the brayer. It just makes different things happen. I'm just drawing the edge through it now. And it just transfers paint across the painting in a very interesting way. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's given you some idea about how to use your tools to make really interesting marks, but most of all to experiment, because when you experiment and you don't worry about the outcome, you don't worry about it looking wonderful, you do learn. You learn a great deal, and that is the joy of painting. You discover some wonderful, wonderful marks. And I'm going to take a few little close-ups of this painting here and put them at the end of this video so you can see how beautiful those marks are. So thanks for watching, and let's go on to the next video.